Hi and welcome. My name's Perry Martin. I'm here with Georgina Comer, and we're going to be talking about what we consider to be a very important subject, and that is your emotions and your beliefs and their impact on investing success. Now, typically, this subject's not talked about, and it should be. Most people come to investing and they learn a lot about the how-tos of investing, which is really important. It's increasing your skills and knowledge base. But very few people teach you about emotional regulation, emotional intelligence, and its impact on investing success. So welcome, Georgina.
Thanks, Perry. It's great to be here. Yes, emotions have such an impact on all of our lives, but particularly with investing. Results mentoring provides all the knowledge and the background information on the technical side of things, but the emotional side is something only we can control. So we're here to share what we know about how you can learn about your emotions and how they're impacting you in your investment decisions.
Great, thank you. So let's get straight into it. So the first thing we can start with is a central concept that your mind is your biggest money-making asset or your greatest wealth saboteur. Now, when we look at the mind and what it can do, it's pretty incredible. Your mind learns skills, gets new knowledge. It's got to make choices all the time. And in fact, it's probably important to say that the success of your investing will come down to the quality of your choices. So you want to know what parts of you, which you're going to go into over the next few videos, what parts of you are making choices. Your mind has to develop a strategy. It's got to do financial modeling. It's got to navigate relationships. So when we talk about navigating relationships, that's with contractors, that's with accountants, so people that help you in the investing process. If you're buying and selling properties, it's your mind's ability to build good relationships, analyze people effectively, look for their weaknesses, their strengths, are they lying to you, etc., etc., etc. And your mind also produces emotions and develops beliefs. And those last two things we're going to be talking a lot about. So your mind's a pretty incredible thing. Now, sadly, and we said this before, many people new to property investing just concentrate on strategy and forget the rest of their psychology, and this leads to minor or major financial sabotage. And just to highlight this, Georgina works really closely with investors, and she helps them understand their blind spots and the beliefs that impact their investing negatively. And she helps them understand how their emotions impact investing outcomes. So, Georgina, how true is this statement in your experience?
Oh, totally, 100% true, Perry. You know, as you spoke there earlier, you mentioned all of the different aspects of investing and, relationships, having conversations with people. All of that is going on at the same time that we've got emotions around our decisions, around the people that we're working with, around past history of decisions we may have made. All of this stuff goes on. Some of it's in our conscious mind, but most of it is in our unconscious mind. So if we're not aware of what's happening, we can start making decisions just based on the parts that we're aware of, and it can actually have a major impact. It can be really positive or it can be really negative. It depends on where you're coming from, but it's so important to understand and to know what's going on inside of your mind as you move through the investing process.
Thank you. So, we're going to use a couple of examples here to really highlight this. And the first thing that I want to say is that, you can do as much learning as you like. You can get the best investment strategies. You can have a very good investment plan, long-term plan. You can work with the best coaches. You can be working with the best accountants and double-checking everything. But what happens when your money goes on the line, Georgina? So if you're someone that's new to investing and, you've got all your details, you've got all your facts right, everything's, you've got a green light. What happens when you go to sign the contract on the dotted line, which basically symbolizes that you're about to put money into this investment? What goes on within an individual at that point?
Well, there's often two different styles of individuals that we work with. One, and I'll address the first one, is, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of tension, there's really stress and fear around the process, because we're actually, signing on the dotted line, we're pulling the trigger, we're actually committing fully to all of the research and all of the decision-making process that we have gone through. So oftentimes what will happen with some people is that they are apprehensive and feel that they need to do more research. So they feel as if they need to double check or triple check. And all of that is really just a symptom of the fear, the uncomfortable feelings that are going on inside their bodies and inside of their minds. So when they're able to make that decision to really fully commit, oftentimes all of these other fears and other parts of their personality will come up and just want to keep them safe and want to hold them back. So we'll find other ways of actually really pulling the trigger and committing.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is that the moment, and I'm going down this path because I want everyone to understand that we're not just rational creatures. We have emotions. So the moment that money goes on the line, as Georgina said, anything that has fear about the investing, there'll be old stories maybe that start to surface, but you will meet an emotional component that's sort of going, ooh, don't do it. For the most part. Some people won't experience that, but many people will. Because you can make a rational decision, but as you'll soon find out, your emotions may have a different view to the rational decision that you're making, and you'll start to experience what we consider to be internal conflict. So, this is for everyone listening and watching this. I want you to just see if you can relate to any of these things. And again, what we're investigating here is how emotions can impact your investment success. The first one is a choke. So if you're watching this, have you ever choked in anything? So you don't have to just apply this to investing. It might be the university exam, it might be going for a new job, it might be in a project that you had to manage, or it might be in business. But basically you choke. So much emotion surfaces that you choke. Choke means that your logical mind is overrun by emotions and you make poor choices, or you get fuzzy in the head. I know I've experienced that. Has anyone experienced rushing around so much because they're stressed and that's caused them to make a poor choice or not pay attention to detail? Have you ever got... Yeah, sorry, Georgina.
I was going to say, certainly that's something that a lot of people will experience, that confusion because of the emotional impact and wanting to just move through it really quickly so that they can get out of the uncomfortable feelings.
Yep, absolutely. And has anyone ever experienced being so overexcited about something that they've just rushed in and not checked all the details or not had enough anxiety that causes them to go, hey, I've got to be careful here. Again, as I go through these examples, you can see that learning to master your emotions or understand yourself is really important, because emotions drive actions that create results. Have you ever experienced procrastinating? You say something's really important to you, but you procrastinate. Again, that is an emotional driver. Analysis paralysis by paralysis. Georgina talked about this before, where someone comes up, they've worked through their investment plan, their investment strategy is looking fantastic, their property's got green light, but the moment they go to put the money down, something says, oh, we better go do some more double checking, there's more research, more research. Again, that is an action driven by emotions. Have you ever thought of yourself as being super skilled, amazing at something, only to find out that you didn't have the right knowledge or the right skill set to pull it off? Again, that's an emotional driver that drives a set of actions that can get you in all sorts of trouble.
That overconfidence.
Yep, overconfidence. Have you ever committed to a goal that you are in love with? Could be a financial goal, could be a lifestyle goal, but you experience a sense of not being good enough, not talented enough. Those self-doubting belief systems that start to undermine your motivation and will, or start to undermine your decision-making processes. Have you ever experienced withdrawing from a goal? You say something's important, but you find yourself doing other things, becoming lazy, not putting the time in. Again, as we dig deeper into these videos, you'll see that resting, relaxing, pulling away from the goal is often used to avoid uncomfortable emotions. Have you ever been caught up doing busy work? And that busy work makes you feel like you're doing something, but the work you're doing really isn't contributing to your big major goals. It's actually an avoidance strategy. Have you ever experienced being so overwhelmed by having to learn new information or by your workload that you can't even think straight? Now, we've gone through, I think there's about 8 different components there of where emotion impacts decision making. Now, these things aren't talked about that often in regards to investing, because the world tends to cherish, or certainly has done in the past, logic development over what we call emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is about emotional awareness of one's belief systems, ability to identify and critique own beliefs. It's about developing accurate self-assessment to your strengths and weaknesses, self-regulation, emotional management, being aware in your choice making about what parts are making choices, using sensitivity to other people's feelings to manage interactions successfully. So emotional intelligence is all about understanding self and learning to have self-mastery over those aspects of your body-mind complex, this thing called you. So you can see, if you've got strong emotional intelligence, you become very aware of these patterns and how they impact you as an investor. Someone without strong emotional intelligence will be sabotaging their investing through one or more of these behavioral patterns.
That's right, Perry, because they won't even be aware of the fact that these patterns are being played out. They're totally unconscious, and the power between the power of our emotions is just as strong whether we're conscious of it or whether we're unconscious of it. It still carries great weight and great power in our decision-making process.
Great. And I agree, Georgina.